I've been asked which book I enjoyed writing the most. Well, I can promise you it is always the book I have just written. A writer has to believe, I think, that they're getting better and better at their craft. I really hope that I constantly keep my readers challenged and interested. And I've written 21 novels now. And my promise to myself, and I hope my readers, is that it's never the same novel twice. So the latest one is always the one I've had the most fun with. And also I've got a really poor memory, so it's usually the one I can remember writing. Hello, I was asked by Bill, am I writing a new book at the moment? Well, no, but only because I've just handed one in. So I have already finished 2022's book. So I'm now at the part of the process where we're looking at covers and straplines and blurbs. But in the back of my head, I'm already beginning to chew over ideas for 2023's novel because, yes, there's always something on the go. Sharon asked where my inspiration comes from. Well, I'm a little bit like a magpie because, well, sometimes people tell me stories and then quite nervously will say to me, please don't put that in a book, or quite enthusiastically beg me to put it in a book. Neither thing is likely to happen. I don't take other people's stories, lock, stock and barrel, and wrap them up and put them in one of my novels, largely because my novels are full of kind of the twists and turns and torture of characters that I would never really want to put any of my friends or family through, clearly. So instead, my inspiration comes from perhaps reading an article or overhearing a conversation, a line in a song, and making it into a what if moment. What if something different happened there? What if that person was pushed to an extreme? Most of us, thank goodness, don't spend our lives in extremes. We tend to try to avoid extremes. That's part of human nature. In novels, it's especially psychological thriller novels, it's my job to test and torture my characters by putting them into very difficult circumstances. So I'm a little bit like a magpie. I will pick up an idea or a half-formed idea, or perhaps meet somebody and use their physical presence as part of my inspiration, but not necessarily their story too. Maybe the story is collected from other sources. So yeah, long answer. I suppose the short answer is everywhere. Claire wants to know which is the favourite book of mine out of all the ones I've written. Literally impossible to say. I have one child for a reason, because, you know, having 21 books is like, I guess, 21 children. You should never have favourites if you have more than one child. I could, at a push, tell you that Playing Away, obviously my debut novel, changed my life, and for that I will always be grateful and feel a huge affection for that book. There's a book called The Other Women's Shoes, which I think is my most autobiographical book. It's a story about a time in my life that was particularly difficult. I found myself unexpectedly a single mum and looking for new love, or in fact not looking for it, but finding it. And so I wrote that up because I was so exhausted. I had nothing in my head other than what was really happening. So I wrote a sort of more autobiographical book. So I love that one. And I always love the book I've just written. So I think Both of You is a novel that is my most crafted. A novel that I probably had to think about plot and really tackle it to the ground over and over again. And so it's a book I'm most proud of. So I do think at the moment, those are my 3 favourite babies, but don't tell the others. Jai wants to know what would my advice be to those who wish to pursue a career in writing? Well, I have a lot of advice on this. I mean, we could literally do a few hours and I would only still be scratching the surface, because obviously I'm trying to sort of encapsulate a 21-year career. But I think here, first thing is go to my website, which is adeleparks.com, and under contact me, there's a list of sort of 10 top tips for would-be writers that I think are sort of they're my perennial 10 top tips, and I would say go there. But if I was going to give you one tip now, I would say that the thing you need to remember about being a writer is you get to decide you're a writer. It's not, an agent doesn't decide, a publishing house doesn't decide. They decide if you get published, maybe, but you get to decide if you're a writer. So write every day, enjoy it, and everything else comes to you once that's a truth. LJ wanted to know, under what conditions does my best writing happen? Well, I certainly prefer writing in the morning. I like to be sort of up and at 'em because I'm very structured and disciplined. So when I'm in the writing phase of my novel, I definitely like to write 1,000 to 2,000 words a day, and I feel better if I know I've got that done. I can go on and do the other parts of my job in the afternoons. I'm best when I can just concentrate on the creativity and I'm not having to think about the other aspects of my job, the sort of marketing or the touring. So I try and carve up my year so that, good chunks of it, many months of it, are devoted to just producing. And I try and say no to tours or, I don't know, overseas festivals, all the things that are incredible fun. But I try and say no when I'm actually writing, because that's a better condition for me. I prefer having other things going on in my world. I don't like to be locked away socially. So whilst I love writing through the day, if I am writing, I do need to be out in the evenings, theatre, television, or films, or conversations, restaurants, overhearing other people's conversations. All those things help my creativity, and yes, they provide the best conditions. Certainly being in a sort of silent silo isn't for me. I love Margaret's question, which is, how many books do I think I have left? Well, good question. I have written 21 novels in 21 years, so I think there is an expectation that I will keep writing a book a year, and I don't quite know who that expectation is attributed to, whether it's me, probably, or publishers or readers. I would like to think everybody's expecting and hoping for that. And also, I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. Why would I? I do the best job in the world. So I don't know. What do you think? Should we aim for 35? I'm on 22. Don't know. Nancy's asked me which is my favourite author. Well, it's again an almost impossible question because I don't know how much of my library you can see here, probably about that much, and there's about 20, 30 times more than that. Authors living and dead, dozens of them have influenced me and continue to influence me. I read very widely in my own genre. I read outside my genre. I think as a young woman, or even a girl, I read a lot of Jane Austen, and she has stayed with me because she writes spiky, unlikable characters quite often, and I kind of like that. And I also think at the time, although obviously not now, but at the time she was underestimated. People thought she wrote sort of cozy romances, where really she had a huge amount of to say social commentary that she delivered with biting satire. And so I admire her as a person for persevering under, let's face it, relatively sexist conditions, where she was, to an extent, marginalised and underestimated, only to flourish. Who could not love that story? Barbara wants to know if writing is my full-time job and whether it's 9 till 5. Well, actual physical writing is not my full-time job. It does not take me a year to write a novel, but everything associated with being a writer is more than a full-time job. So if I'm not physically writing, I will most likely be promoting on my social media. I'm very active on all my social media, and so interacting with readers, engaging with readers there. I might be researching, I might be talking to my publishers about blurbs or covers, marketing strategies, PR strategies. I might be visiting bookshops and retailers and just seeing what's on the shelves there. So I can certainly fill my days with my writing career, but the actual it's not 9 till 5. I try and force it to be 9 till 5. I kind of like that idea that my job somehow relates to other people's jobs too. And so I do sit at my desk first thing, and I do sort of tackle my writing in the morning, and in the afternoon I'm most likely to do some of those other things, the emailing, the contacting retailers, talking to readers, that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm probably at my desk 9 to 5-ish. But then again, I could be watching a TV show at 10 o'clock at night and suddenly have an idea and rush back to my desk then. So not very 9 till 5 at that point.